Guys, I am going to be interviewing two gentlemen I have known over the years that are terrain enthusiasts. Doesn't even come close. Would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Robert Hausman. I handle the 3D design and printing as well as a lot of the machine maintenance for our work with various conventions including Adepticon, and this is my twin brother.
Okay.
I'm Patrick Hausman. I'm our laser cut design specialist, and if it involves high voltage or random electronics, I guess I'm kind of your man.
Cool.
Well, I also am pretty darn good at the 3D Tetris packing things up, and I'm the only person who's actually stupid and crazy enough to climb on top of all of our carts to tie them up so we can take them places.
Which makes you indispensable.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, both of you guys have been doing this for how long?
We have been attending shows and GMing for over a decade now. So
Really?
We were 10.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So we have in the past 6 years, we started doing a lot of our own terrain building, and in the past 4, we got heavily into doing our own laser cut design, and then that snowballed into 3D printing and now routing of things from foam in order to let us produce the massive volumes of terrain that some of these conventions call for.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to just pan away to show you this giant piece of terrain holding. And you've got how many of these here?
We have, I believe, 7 carts here. We left 1 at home, and those are our mobile workstation carts, which, since we don't do a lot of workshops or repair work at this show, nor do we bring most of our staff,
Got it.
we can leave those behind. We also left about 30% of our roadable terrain, which is to say things that can be reasonably transported. And what we bring to shows is typically about half of what we have as far as actual total terrain. So we have over 100 tables in our barn in Michigan. So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, guys. When I am talking about terrain, I am not screwing around here. He said 100 tables, and he is not lying. Now, you guys do a lot of shows. I've heard you do Origins.
We do Origins, Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio. We do Adepticon's Open Gaming and Land Out Terrain to some of the tournaments where they may have shortfalls or damaged terrain that needs to be temporarily replaced. And closer to home, we also do a much smaller gaming convention called UConn in Michigan. So,
Cool. There's a lot of gaming going on in Michigan.
yeah.
We've also done a few other small shows. We did, I believe, the Ohio area GT one year. We rolled several carts worth of terrain down. We set it up for the weekend, and essentially the organizers made a deal with us where we provided the terrain and they made sure that it got back to us at the end so we could mostly walk away.
That's amazing. And to give you guys an idea, I just want to pan down here. This entire hallway that seems to go on forever, and it goes a long way, they had tables from here all the way down to there, completely filled with terrain. And let's talk about some of the different lines that you run. So I noticed that you pretty much cover sci-fi, you cover historical, I would say.
Yeah. Yes, we have several designs that are based on French farmhouses from the World War II and earlier period back to. They are acceptable for late medieval work. We have some stuff that is the high fantasy stuff. We also do a large number of the oddball scales. We've got some 6mm terrain, so that's
Oh, that's cool.
BattleTech and your Epic.
Super.
Don't bring a lot because a little bit goes a long way, and also
Right.
the demand for those is low. We do a lot of 10mm scale laser cut stuff because actual true 10mm terrain is hard to buy.
Yeah.
For say drop
It pretty much
zone
jumps to
tournament.
15 after
Yes.
5. Yeah.
So drop zone tournaments call for 10mm, and since we are so digital in the design process, making it actually accurately scaled saves us a lot of hassle in taking one design from 28 to 10 to 6. We can just
It's just a
exactly
scale change for
multiply.
you, basically.
It's a scale changing. I redo all of the tabbing for all the laser cut stuff, but we tend to get to the absolutely nuts details, so I'll end up doing every individual brick or finding.
I was just about to say that,
examples of
guys.
stone and actually trying to make everything perfectly true scale. So sometimes, if I have the option, I will dig up a kind of brick or some other bit so that I can make the sizes a little bit nicer in their primary scale just for my convenience. But I do base pretty much everything off of actual architectural features and references.
And what he was talking about there, just in case you missed it, and I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to repeat what he said. He showed me a farmhouse, I think it was, and I was impressed with just the brickwork. And if you've ever done brickwork, you know how it's its own form of hell for terrain making. He showed me each individual brick had texture on it with the laser cutting, which is just insane. I am so impressed with that. What would you guys say is probably the most difficult thing that you guys have tackled in terrain building? Because you guys are really, really impressive.
On my side, I've been working on building a multi-story Necron pyramid that's designed to be lit from the inside.
Oh,
the
wow.
original design I got from one of the Adepticon people as a request to see if I could do it. Is truly hellish in the margins because some of
Pyramids
the
are hard.
kickbacks I have. It's not just a straight pyramid. They want it to kick back in the center, so there's a square cutout, and then it changes the angle. So
Oh my God.
We're talking about 4 or 5 pieces in some of these joints that have to meet, and they have to be something that can be cut in a 2-dimensional process. So there's no
Oh, and it's
coming
so
in
hard.
with a chamfer, but because we have the skill sets we do, it eventually cleaning up the joints got kicked over to me so that we could redesign the joints very slightly to go from a noticeable gap that would be hard to use putty to fill
Sure.
to our final gap at its widest point on the back face, because the back face is
Hides it.
well, the back face is the part where the gap is narrowest, so that's
Oh, okay.
the widest gap the putty will have to span unsupported
Got it.
is 0.003 of an inch.
Oh my God.
So
That's
we
crazy.
Try very hard to make things as sturdy as possible. So they also each have to hang on a skeleton, and for the medium one, I actually have stood on the prototype skeleton, and I am not a light person.
These
That
guys
gives you
stand
an
on their
idea.
terrain.
Yes.
Some
That
people
is
stand
awesome.
Behind it, some of it, we have a tendency of sometimes standing on it.
That is the, is the terrain durable? Yes, this man is standing on this piece of terrain.
Yes. So
That is awesome.
I'm still working on it. I'm thinking I may just abandon the rectangular kickback and just make it so that there's a tracery of lighting bleeding through, and perhaps inlaying acrylic across the surface. And if I give it a gloss coat of black paint and then inlay green or black acrylic, that way when the lights aren't on, it looks almost seamless.
Oh, that's
So,
brilliant, actually.
That
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do that just because I think it would be cool. The second hardest would definitely be me putting together a set of aerial walkways and platforms. So
Oh, that would
they
be
can all
amazing.
link together, where the walkways are about the size of a Rhino chassis. Because there's no fun if you can't have a whole squad of models on it, and that
Right.
just restricts play too much.
Exactly.
So
That's
it's no
excellent
good
game
if it's
design there,
really small.
or
And I
building
want
design
them
for
to
games.
Sturdily interlock without having too much work to make them interlock, because a lot of our stuff is focused on terrain that's easily rearrangeable and scatterable for setting tournaments very quickly, or for setting play tables very quickly, because a lot of what we do is we try to work very quickly, because we don't have enough time for us to manage 20 or 30 tables for 3 of us, or 100 or so tables with 20-some people, many of which are running games at the same time.
Yeah.
We just don't have the manpower to do the intricate setup some kinds of terrain require.
Oh, I hear ya. I hear ya.
Our other large problem terrain-wise is painting. We now have automated so much of our production process and optimized it, because that is quite literally what we're trained to do. That our bottleneck isn't even assembly of terrain, because we designed it to be assembled.
Gotcha. Sure.
But it's painting it, because even rattle can painting, just quick, takes more time for us than cutting it and assembling it. It is that bad of a disbalance. So
Yep.
we're always looking for painters. We're always looking for ways to speed up our painting, or ways where we can add in detail to the model so that it will stand out once it's painted, to ease our paint load to make good-looking terrain.
Gotcha.
Which makes it also easier for people who take our designs, because we provide them to people and we try and make it easy for people to find someone to make it for them. So that way, if you're just getting started, you can take our designs to anyone who's willing to let you run a laser, or run a laser for you, and you can rattle can it, and you have something that looks good at a pretty aggressive price point.
There you go. I'm running a little bit low on battery, guys, so once again, I've known these guys for years. You know, they've stood the test of time. They do amazing work. Again, this is their card. And I want to thank you so much for taking time out, because these guys are actually packing up. And believe me, it is a major undertaking. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. The community really appreciates you guys, whether they say it or not. Just on, I'd like to, from myself, being part of the community, thank you so much for what you guys do. Take care.